So here we've got a slightly different system in that we've got a dual act in the form of Scott and Trent. So Scott Falconer from Victoria received in 2017 the Lord Mayor's Bushfire Appeal Churchill Fellowship to create close partnerships with and jobs for traditional owners in fire and land management, travelling to the US and Canada. And Trent Nelson travelled with Scott in his capacity as chairperson of the Dja Dja Wurrung Clans Aboriginal Corporation. So in whichever order you'd like to do, I'd invite you to speak to us.
It was. Thanks, David. Dalkaya, Jadarang Yoriora, Guli, Dalkunya, Murpi. In my language, that means welcome. Just like to acknowledge the First Nations of this land, the traditional owners, the Ngunnawal people here, and also pay my respects through my ancestors as well. Cultural burning heals my people and the land. Cultural fire is a fire applied to country by traditional owners for a myriad of reasons and applications. It provides unique opportunity to connect with my mob to country. In 2018, I travelled with Scott to the USA and Canada to meet First Nations people, to see how they were working together and reintroducing cultural fire practices. We found similarities with, I guess, the genuine desire to work together in an approach that provides true caring for country. Cultural healing, jobs, economic development and opportunity for Aboriginal people. Managing country using fire strengths builds identity with Aboriginal people. It increases our presence on the land to practice law, LORE, and fulfil our cultural obligations. This builds health and well-being of our people and living with our culture. Health of the country is improved. It offers possibilities to heal the land and holistic way of applying traditional knowledge to build resilience for natural disasters such as the recent catastrophic bushfires. Reducing fuels, regenerating degrading landscapes, controlling weeds and restoring balance of species in the ecosystem as well. Cultural fire is the key to this. The story in America and Australia is the same. When returning from our journey, the first two traditional owner-led cultural burns were implemented by my mob, the Dja Dja people of Central Victoria, in partnership with DELP, the government agency. These were the first burns known to be led by traditional owners in 170 plus years on country. So that was a very emotional moment for my people, for my elders and for my family to actually deliver those on country. Thank you.
Thanks, Trent. It's always an absolute pleasure and honour to present with Trent. And I'm going off script a little bit. When I got my Churchill Fellowship, someone said to me, why is a white guy going over to do this? Well, I'm a senior agency person and want to be in that position where we can enable Aboriginal people to do this endeavour. And it didn't feel appropriate to go overseas without at least somebody present from an Aboriginal corporation. We've been working very close together, and another second Aboriginal man, Tim Kanoa, came over with me, and at the heart of this project is people and relationships, and that was the single best decision that I could have made and the Trust supported, so thanks to the Trust for that. The need for cultural fire is absolutely clear, and the submissions into the National Natural Disaster Royal Commission all said that. It's just abundantly clear. However, traditional owners have limited access and rights to managing country, at least in places like Victoria, New South Wales and other states where public land's managed by the Crown, as opposed to what can happen in Northern Australia where there's legal rights and Aboriginal people can manage the country the way they wish. So what were some of the major lessons? And there's many. The legal rights and connection of Aboriginal people to country must be recognised as the first one. Trust is critical and must be established between parties, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal. Easily said, harder done. There's a legacy of colonisation and mistrust. This must be built over time, and the key is forming meaningful partnerships, and that's really at the heart of this work. And what we've achieved, I think, is largely because of leadership and relationships. Self-determination is the driving principle of that collaboration. This means that traditional owners lead this process at their pace with sustained support and resourcing from governments and their agencies. So since that first historic effort that Trent outlined in Jarrah country, that was a really powerful moment. We filmed it, you can find it online, and you can see the reaction to elders and others when you're returning fire to country and acknowledging that right to ownership. These are all positive steps, however more needs to be done. We actually now have 120 burns planned in Victoria after 3 years. We have all our colleagues we visited in the USA and Canada asking us, what are you doing to do this? And these aren't bragging rights. I think it's remarkably simple. So the next step's probably in what federal governments can do to assist. Together we need to establish state and national policy groups and partnership groups to bring together representatives from fire and emergency management agencies like the one I work for to work with traditional owners. We need to identify and remove regulatory and social barriers to traditional owners' ability to manage country. We've found that quite simple. Some of it's complex legislation, others is just cultural, internal stuff. There is an opportunity to create a national Indigenous-led network of fire practitioners supported with sustained funding to bring together volunteers and paid practitioners engaged in collaborative land management works and bushfire management initiatives with traditional owners, and that's lacking at the moment. And lastly, and equally as important, we need to support traditional owners to develop and lead a science-based research program that aligns with their cultural fire initiatives. Thank you.